Dear friends, on behalf of my wife, my kids, and our family, I would like to thank you all for coming this evening. I would like to thank all Am Yisrael, our friends and relatives in Eretz Israel, particularly my sister, husband and their kids. They support us the entire month of Tishrei. They're probably with us now live. It was so important for us to be surrounded with love of brothers and sisters, parents, in-laws. You all came for us, and thank you. Thank you to the whole Jewish community of Quebec and Montreal, especially our colleagues, the Shloshim. A special thank you to the MTC family, the Mada family, Ofaratster Shluchis family, Chabad on Campus International, Chabad on Campus Canada family, our French colleagues, especially from the French Riviera, La Côte d'Azur, our alumni, all of our friends. A special one for Basi, Nochi, and Sruli's friends for the tremendous support we got from you in Yerushalayim. And now I would like to say a special thank you and my deepest respect for the principal of Levi's Yeshiva in the holy city of Tzfat. His name is Rabbi Zalman Kaplan. And all the teachers and the tzevet, all the staff members of the yeshiva. For 4 years, your talents of educators and the wisdom to give the space to our son Levi in his learning journey. You realize right away the need of the student we bring it to you. How important it is to give the liberty for a talented, curious and smart boy like Levi. Indeed, he never wanted to change yeshiva. Maybe also because he realized that you understand him. And he grew up tremendously through his learning and teaching in your yeshiva. Yes, teaching also. Lely became an asset for this institution. We got so many testimonies from Levi's friends about the many chavrusa, the one-on-one learning sessions with Levi. You guys learn so much. It's actually the occasion to thank all Levi's friends. They all came to visit during the yeshiva in Yerushalayim and share with us beautiful stories and anecdotes about Levi. But how come over the years every one of you learn with Levi? We ask them how it's possible. Yes, they say, we all Levi's chavrusa. At a certain point, we all learn with him. We have this chance to learn with him and from him. Dear friends, I'm not going to tell you all the stories we heard this past few weeks. You probably heard already so much about him. And most of you experience yourself some good learning experience with Levi. Levi would be celebrating his 17th birthday in about a month. Levi is our Bechor, our older son. We wait for him 6 long years in Nice, France. We used to say that he's the first Chassid born in Quebec City. But first of all, he is a blessing since we arrived in town. In fact, Our mission in Quebec was the blessing to welcome this holy neshama, this holy soul down to earth. And we are so thankful to Hashem that He chose us to be His parents. What a merit to be the mother and father of such a child. The sister and brothers of such a brilliant and funny boy. Levi, tu es et tu resteras un exemple pour nous tous, pour tout le peuple juif. Nous avons beaucoup appris de toi et nous apprendrons encore énormément grâce à toi. Our son Levi worked a lot in our family tree and roots. We know that we're part of the great family of the Kohanim, but we also discover through Levi's work how we are descendant of many very distinguished Hasidic families and directly connected to sages like the Ramah, the Shach, and even the Maharal. It was actually very complex to mention all this on his Matzeva. Levi, you received the ultimate honor to be buried very close to some of them by Hashgacha Pratis, by divine providence. It seems that Hashem Himself made His way for you to rest in peace until Mashiach in Har HaZeisim, the Olives Mount in Yerushalayim. For sure you deserve it. For your love for the Jewish people, Hashem's kids. For your love for Eretz HaKodesh, Hashem's land. And of course, for your love of the Torah, Hashem's holy Torah. As we Jews believe, we're going to be reunited very soon with Levi. And all the sages that you knew through your learning, our ancestors and prophets, the Tanoim and Amiroim, Rishonim and Achroinim, Gedolim and Rabbanim, Admurim and Rebbeim, that you learn with them presently. Hakitzu v'ramenu shochne ofa ba'golot didon, with Mashiach Tzidkeinu right now. I would like to ask my dear friend, Rabbi Lewin, to recite a kapitel Tehillim in Levi's merit and prayer in heaven. I'm asking Levi to pray in heaven for our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael, for the success of our soldiers, for the refuah shalema of the injured, and for the return of the entire Jewish people at home. Thank you. The mute, he says the mute.
Kapitel Chaf. Lam Natseach, Mizmor David, Yam Chad Nebim, Sora, Yisagev, Chashim Lo Yaakov, Yishtach Ezechom B'Kodesh, B'Tzion Yisodeka, Yisker Kom Chaysecha, Velos Choyidash Nesela, Yitin L'Chachel Vovecha, Chalatzos Chajimalei, L'Anan of Yeshua Secha, V'Shem Aleinu, Digdel Yimaladinoi, Kom Shalei Secha, Ata Yadaiti, Yeshad Nemishicha, Yaneim Mishmeikotza, Bigvuroi Seisha Yiminoi, Eila Varacha, Veila Vasus, Vanach, Vashem Adnilin, Naskir, Hema Karv and Achal, Vanach, come to find the Seydog, Adino Yeshia, Melchane, Novian Karenu.
Since we're all here tonight for this gathering as it's mentioned, we have to say some tefillos, and we eventually going to learn Torah soon. It's also very important to give tzedakah. So my suggestion for all of you, you're probably going to see the links. It's to give tzedakah either to Eretz Yisrael. There is so many of our institutions, of Chabad houses, and people that help our soldiers, our chayalim, to give tzedakah there. Or to give tzedakah to the yeshiva of our son, Levi. They're going to build there, Eretz Hashem, a library with books, like Levi would like to have. So eventually to give tzedakah to those to the institution or anywhere or any else. We're going to see now a little clip, a very short video, and then we're going to learn something together.
das hat es Parashaychis mit dem, nur das hat Parashaychis mit dem und hat Parashaychis wie sie meistische Lehen, anhogische Lehen, in der Bäre, Mazatach, schon begut.
V'hachai yiten el liboy. And the living shall take into heart. Our dear Rebbe teach us what to do in those circumstances. You see, we say in Chabad we don't do hespedim, and the few pages that I already read to you was not easy. And now, it's supposed to be the best part. In my heart, this should be the best part, but might be even more challenging. So I promise you I'll do my best. I would prefer to say it in French. I would like to share with you a little anecdote to present to you the many initiatives we're going to do in memory of our son Levi. I could remember him as a baby playing with Sefarim, taking from the bookshelf, turning a few pages and put it back. Even when people wouldn't like that much, that parents let a toddler treat holy books like his own toys. But Levi could count on his mommy to advocate. We should let him. This is his way to learn, and the rest is history. You see, all of us went to school, most probably the school that parents choose for us. But it seems that only some of us really enjoy it. Without talking about succeeding study, I was always wondering why we have this feeling of wasting time in school. And I think that most of us had this feeling somehow, depending the intensity of the time in our youth, that we didn't appreciate learning, or because of a teacher, or because of the topic. In short, I always felt that I missed something. Some of you maybe ask, Rabbi, you are not serious. Yes, I'm very serious. It happened even later, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a rabbi, that I was learning just because I had to prepare a class to teach. But I didn't always enjoy my personal learning. And I discover Levi's passion. My sting to the pleasure of learning. Learning all type of topics. Just feeding himself with more and more and more knowledge. Some of us probably remember Levi's Bar Mitzvah. Indeed, it was in this Torah center. Levi surprised me, and maybe all of us, when he already started to learn on his own astronomical quantity of Talmud, and decided that he would go through the entire Shas. As a father, I was very inspired from a young son enthusiasm and favor for Torah learning. Lady have this merit. His own father went back to learn seriously. Thank you. Thank you so much, Levi. My Torah learning, it's also yours. What a pleasure to learn for yourself on a daily basis. It's actually the occasion maybe to say thank you from the deepest of my heart to my chavruta, for all my chavrutas, for this everyday, fascinating, motivating, and deep learning. Thank you. And this is what I want to share with the world. The pleasure, the fire, the enthusiastic desire that Lady have for learning. Believe me, our world and our personal life will change forever. Like Levi would say when he saw a book, or when he went to the library or to a bookstore, this is the real happiness. The initiative started already, and I want to share it with you tonight. I will basically give you a glimpse of a very interesting topic I learned last year. but I'm not going to teach you. We're going to learn it together. I know, Baruch Hashem, the crowd is quite big, but we will make it. Tonight I'm going to share with you 3 little secrets. Eventually we'll share with you more. How to get pleasure, how to get the geschmack into a deep learning. Secret number 1. When we're going to open this booklet with references, with Mari Mekoimis, just don't be shy. I will ask you questions. And if you think you know the answer, just say it. You might know much more than you think. And altogether, we're going to build this magnificent Torah lesson. The second secret is, don't be afraid of the paper and the Hebrew words. It's easy. I promise you, it's much easier than you think. Secret number 3. This is the last for tonight. Believe your intuition. Believe your common sense. You'll be surprised how Torah is really made for us. In Hebrew, we call this Sechel HaYashar, literally, healthy thinking. You know, I'd be so happy if I was able to say this class in French. I do this effort for tonight, but eventually we will continue in French. I'll teach you French. I don't know how many people here had the occasion to organize a Bar Mitzvah for their own son, or for a grandson, for a nephew. But try to remember when you organize it, and think about that boy, that 13 years old boy, that he'll become the man. We say now he's an adult. We consider him as a mature boy. Do that boy is really mature? He's really that adult that we pretend? Indeed, you know, it's a question. Do we assume that most of the boys at 13 years old are already mans? Or it's just because the Torah decided that at 13 we do Bar Mitzvah? We're not going to go into this now, but what we're going to go into is the famous story of Shimon and Levi, 2 brothers, the 2 sons of Yaakov Avinu, of our father Yaakov. And from Torah we're going to discover what's a 13 years old boy. You see, in a regular class I would ask someone to read. In this case, I'm going to read some of the text, not all of them. But of course, through the lesson, maybe you're going to go through all the text and all the references. So the first pasuk says like this: Vayihi bayom hashlishi biyosam kiyavim vayikhu shne bnei Yaakov Shimon v'Levi achidina ish charbay vayavoyu el ha'ir. It's the famous story when Dinah was kidnapped in the city of Shechem. And the 2 brothers, Shimon and Levi, the strong brothers, decide to go get and save their sister. Now, Pirkei Avos, in the Pirkei Avot it says, הוא היה אומר בין 5 שנים למקרא, בין 10 למשנה, בין 13 למצוות. Pirkei Avos teach us that when we're 13 years old, it's time to be responsible for our mitzvahs. The Bar Tanura, it's one of the commentary of the Mishna, teach us that there is another pasuk in Torah that says, Ish o isha ki yasu mikol chatot adam, any man or any woman that will do a sin, And Bartanura continues, he says, regarding Shechem, Ktiv, it's also said the same words. Vayikhu shnei bnei Yaakov, Shimon v'Levi, v'karele ish. We call them ish. And since we use the same word, so we consider them adults. The Tosfot Yom Tov, it's another commentary on the Mishnah, bring up the same idea, but goes a little bit further. And he says like this, V'Levi be'oto perek ben Yud Gimel Shana haya. When Levi went to Shechem, at that point, he was 13 years old. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a question here. We have a question. If you just read with me these two little texts, you could right away realize there is something that goes wrong. Anyone? Vayikru shnei bnei Yaakov, Shimon v'Levi, and then Tosfot Yom Tov says, v'Levi be'oto perek ben Yud Gimel Shana haya. Shimon, where's Shimon disappeared? Thank you. You'll see that in those little details, and they're not so complicated. We could find a lot of very, very interesting thing to learn. And eventually you'll see that in those details, we're going to clarify this whole story. Tosfot Yom Tov continues, says, כשתחשוב י"ג שנה שעשה יעקב עם לבן אחר שנשא את לאה, וילדה לו אחר בין 2 שנים בקירוב, שעלו בהיריון לשלושת האחים, ראובן, שמעון ולוי, לחשבון 7 חודשים, לכל אחד נמצא לוי בן י' שנה. So you see again, the Levi come up and Shimon disappear. For those that know this story, what happened is that Yaakov arrived in Lavan's house. Lavan was his uncle, and he wanted to marry Rachel. And Lavan promised him that he could marry Rachel if he works for him. How many years? 7. Very good. 7 years. Yaakov loved Rachel so much, he went to work 7 years. After the 7 years, he wanted to marry Rachel. What happened? Vehine hi Leah. He married Leah, the sister. So Yaakov complained. He says, but I want Rachel. Lavan says, work another 7 years, and I'll give you Rachel. So total Yaakov worked how many years? I know mathematics in school, for some of us, it's not a good souvenir, but tonight, it's not going to be as much complicated. In the beginning, it might be a bit complex later, but we could make it. So 14 years, he works for 14 years. And then what happened? For those who remember, after those 14 years, Yaakov had a little clash with his father-in-law, and he says, I'll go on my own. I'm going to do my own business. But he stayed in Lavan's house for another 6 years. Total of 20 years. For 20 years, Yaakov stayed by Lavan. For those who remember, eventually Yosef went into Egypt. His brothers sold Yosef, and Yosef and Yaakov couldn't see his son Yosef for how many years? For those who remember, for 22 years. 22 years, it says in the Midrash, he was punished for the 22 years that he was not able to do kibud avaim. He was not able to respect his own parents because he was away. He was by Lavan. So we had already the first 20 years. What's the last 2 years? The last 2 years is 18 months that he went into a place called Sukkot, Actually, to be precise, he was there for 18 months. And we're going to see this in a very interesting text. It's not so evident. He was actually for a summer, for a winter, and for a summer again. So for 18 months he was in Sukkot, and then 6 months he was in Bethel. So it's a total of 22 years. We're going to see this last text number 6, and then we're going to go into the topic. Rashi in Gemara in Talmud Nazir says as follows. Talking about Levi again, Ish have mi ben Yud Gimel shana velo bepachot. Have to be 13 years old, exactly, not less. שלא מצינו בכל התורה שיקראו איש בפחות מבין י' ג'. It's impossible to call someone an adult before 13 years old. אבל בבין י' ג' מצינו שקראו הכתוב איש. But after 13, from 13 and on, we could call him an adult. As it says, ויקחו שני בני יעקב, שמעון ולוי. Shimon came back. And it says, וגמירה, Shimon ולוי בהאי שעתה ובני י"ג שנה הבו. So Rashi says, Shimon and Levi were 13 when they went to Shechem. 2 boys, same age, they're not twins. It's possible. Let's say 9th month in between, 2 boys of the same age. But Rashi here brings up, and the last few words are very important. והרוצה לחשוב יצא ויחשוב. You see, this would be something that would literally sting Levi. Go and count. If you're interested, just do the cheshbon. Indeed, someone did this cheshbon. Someone did this calculation to be precise. How do we know that Shimon and Levi were 13 years old? And eventually, how old exactly was Levi? Text number 8, the famous pasuk. Reshit Oni, the last parsha of Bereshit. Yaakov talked to Reuven, his Bechor, and says, Reshit Oni, you are my first one. You came from the first semen. When Yaakov married Leah, he had his first son from the first relationship. Indeed, it was not after 9 months. We're going to see it was after 7 months. And then the pasuk said, "Vatahar vateled." She became pregnant again, Leah, and she gave birth. It was Shimon. Vatahar vateled, 3rd time, it was Levi. So if we calculate fast, 3 times 7 months, how many years is that? Or how many months is that? 21 months. In fact, I'm not going to read all the psukim, but if you see the last pasuk of the page 5, it says, "Malei shvu'azot v'nitna lecha gam et zot ba'avura." Lavan promised that if you work another 7 years, you'll get Rachel. But Yaakov married Rachel right away. Actually, not right away. He married Rachel 7 days after Leah. He had to wait. Sheva yemei hamishte. So keep in mind here that there is 1 week between the marriage of Leah and the marriage of Rachel. And then as we say, text 10, Yaakov says clearly to Lavan, I've been by you 20 years, as we know. 7 plus 7 plus 6, this we know already. So Yaakov stayed 20 years by Lavan, and then he ran away. Text 11, Vayivrach and he went to Nahar Yabok. This runaway was for a week, for exactly 7 days, and then Lavan catch him. They had a conversation. Yaakov stayed there with his entire family another day in Yabok, and then Yaakov was able to leave and to go on the direction of Shechem, and it took him 18 months. So on the page 8, we put here all the story, but the history, you could read it, but you probably know already. It's finishing, ויקום בלילה הוא ויקח את שתי נשיו ואת שתי שפחותיו ואת 11 ילדיו ויעבור את מעבר יבוק. So total, fast calculation, since Yaakov married Leah, 7 days of mishteh, Sheva brachot, happiness. 7 days he ran away till Ma'avar Yavok. 1 day he stayed there. It's a total of 15 days. Text number 13. V'Yaakov nasa Sukkota v'yiven lo bait ulemikneu asa Sukkot. In the Talmud Megillah, Masechet Megillah, it says, he explained over there, Yatsa me'aram na'araim uva lo Sukkot v'asa sham 18 chodesh. The Gemara teaches us it was there for 18 months. How we know? Because he built a sukkah, then he built a house, and then he built a sukkah again. It seems that when we're building sukkot, it's hot enough. When we have to build a house, it's because it's winter, and then he built a sukkah again. This is how we know, how the Gemara says that Yaakov went for 18 months on the way. So we had 15 days and 18 months. And after this 18 months in Sukkot, Yaakov arrived at the door of Shechem, of the city of Shechem. The Bereshit Rabbah, text 15, tell us like this, that Yaakov Avinu, he was already keeping Shabbat, like we know all the Avot, all our ancestors, keep Torah and Mitzvot much before Hashem give us the Torah. And therefore, Yaakov didn't go into Shechem. He waited out of Shechem for Shabbos. After Shabbat, on Sunday, like the Pasuk says, the Pasuk don't say that, I'm sorry, but most probably, Dinah, if the family stayed out of Shechem for Shabbos, Dinah also couldn't go to Shechem. So she probably went just after Shabbat. It was on Sunday. And she got kidnapped. Levi and Shimon went that Sunday, and they had to get back their sister Dinah, and they made a deal with Shechem and with the people. They say, if you want to marry our sisters and our daughters, you have to be like us. Let's do Brit Milah, let's circumcise, and then we're going to be as one. Vayehi bayom hashlishi, and the third day, Shimon and Levi went and they killed all those mean people, those evil people that kidnapped Dinah. And so, if we calculate, well, we had Friday, Shabbat, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So we had 18 months, 15 days, and now we have another 5 days. A total of 18 months and 20 days. Now, did the Imaot, Leah and Rachel, give birth really after 7 months of pregnancy? So we call this 7 months, like it says in Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer. משבע חודשים ילדה לאה את בניה ולשבעה חודשים נולדו ליעקב 11 בנים ובת אחת. But in Gemara Rosh Hashanah says, the fact that they give birth 7 months, it was not really 7 months. Eina yoledet limkuta'in. Limkuta'in means like this. they give birth in the 7th month. For those that know how to calculate month of pregnancy, we say this woman went into her 7th month. But indeed, they give birth after 6 months and 2 days. So the first calculation we did together of 21 months, it was not really accurate. Indeed, Levi born exactly, if I say 6 months and 2 days, 3 times, Reuven was conceived the first time, right away. Then 6 months and 2 days for Shimon, then 6 months and 2 days for Levi. So it's a total of 18 months and 6 days. So, if we know that Leah gave birth of Levi exactly 18 months and 20 days after she got married, and we have between the marriage of Leah and Shechem, we have 7 years plus 6 years, it's 13 years, plus the 18 and 20 years. If we take out the 18, 20 years, we have exactly 13 years left. But in this case, the problem is that we don't have the 18 months and 20 days. We have only 18 months and 6 days. So it's not precise. We're missing here 14 days. So how old Levi was exactly when he arrived in Shechem? And so we have to read our last pasuk. Indeed, the Tosfot Yom Tov says, and others says, it was about 2 years. It was about 2 years between the time that Yaakov left Lavan's house until he get to Shechem. But if we say that it was 2 years, it means that Levi was or 13 years and 3 months, or it was 12 years and 9 months. But according to our calculation, beside 14 days, Levi is supposed to be exactly 13 years old. But as the halakha, the Torah says, when a woman gives a birth of a boy, she have to wait 7 days of tahara. 7 days before to go to the mikvah. And so between Reuven and Shimon was 7 days. Between Shimon and Levi was another 7 days. And here we go. We have the 14 days missing. And so we have exactly 13 years, 18 months and 20 days. If we take out the 18 months of Sukkot and the 20 days of 7 days of the Mishna, of the celebration, the 7 days of running away from Lavan till Yavok, and then we add the 5 days that Yaakov wait out and until Dinah went into Shechem, until Shimon and Levi got her, we have exactly this 18 month and 20 days minus the 13 years. Levi was exactly Bar Mitzvah that day. And this is what's very interesting, because many Talmidei Chachamim didn't went so far. They pretend they knew that it's probably that Levi was Bar Mitzvah that day. But our Rebbe, and probably when he was very young, was so curious. And then we read these few words. He was curious enough to say, I have to do this calculation. And he arrived to this conclusion. The conclusion is very precise. How do we know that Bar Mitzvah is 13 years old exactly? It's because according to Torah, Levi celebrated his Bar Mitzvah that day. And for those who remember in the beginning, I ask you, how come Shimon and Levi and suddenly Shimon disappeared? Because in fact, Shimon was also 13, but he was 13 in few months. So we cannot do the calculation according to Shimon. The calculation is especially about Levi, because Levi was Bar Mitzvah that day. And this is how we know that Bar Mitzvah is not few days before Bar Mitzvah or few months after 13 years old. It's exactly that day. And how the Rebbe says in the Reshima, ואפשר לומר שהחשבון הוא מדויק מיום ליום. You see, this demonstration today, it was not easy for me at all. It was very, very challenging. Even though when I learned it about a year ago, it was clear in my mind. I had to go through it again this week and learn it again and calculate again. But for me, it was such a pleasure, and I would say a nechama. It was peaceful for me. It helps me to go through those moments. And I really wish, with the time, I'll be able to connect with younger people, with men's, women's, anyone that is curious and interested to know about Torah. I promise you, you could find there not only treasure, but you could find real happiness. A day that unfortunately I cannot sit down and learn with my chavruta. It's a different day. In fact, when we went to Eretz Israel for a few days, few weeks, I was not even allowed to learn according to halacha. Even my kids realized that I was different. Of course, I was different. But one of my sons revealed that in front of people. They say, yes, Tati is available another extra hour every day because Tati cannot learn. This is my deep wish for all of you. And this is our first initiative for the future. I would like to share with anyone. And again, I'm not going to teach you. You probably have already a rabbi. You have teachers. You have mentors. But my only wish is if anyone struggle with this mitzvah of learning Torah, it will be my pleasure to help you and to guide you, to give you tools, to learn better, to teach better. If a rabbi is in a synagogue, even a little group of people, we already did in some houses during Shnat Hakel, you could invite me to give classes, in French of course, and we'll keep you posted for other initiatives related to Torah, to learning, to Sfarim, to books. For now, I'm sure you know us, you know where to find us. And we wish Besuris Davis only good things from now on. I would like to ask my dear colleague and my dear friend, another Levi, it's interesting, I just realized now, it's Levi and Levi, to do a Siyum Mishnayot as is the custom. And then we're going to say Kaddish. Mr. Levi Yitzchak, no? I read nicht, aber it's interesting.
It works? It works? All right, make a theme of Mishnayos. You all know Mishnayos is Mishna is Neshama, so it's customary to learn and to make a siyum on the Mishnayos within the Shloshim, and together with many other colleagues, Shluchim colleagues, and other people with Mishtatif, we're able to finish the whole Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. The last Mishnah of Masechta Uksin of Seder Taris has two sayings, one from Rabbi Shua Levi, one from Rabbi Shimon Mechalafta, which the Rebbe explains that this last Mishnah is not like all the other Mishnayos that speak about halachis or Haggadis, but rather this Mishnah is telling us what is a schar for following all the halachas which are explained in all the previous Masechtas. And in fact, the Rebbe goes on to explain in detail how Rabbi Shua ben Levi and Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta are talking about 2 levels in schar, because there's 2 levels in each mitzvah that was explained earlier. I'll start the Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, what is a schar? Osed HaKadosh Baruch Hu lahanchil l'chol tzaddik v'tzaddik. The Eibishter will inherit, give inheritance to every tzaddik and tzaddik. Shlosh meis v'asara ilamis, 310 ilamis. Shenema lahanchil oyava yesh v'yisreseyim amali. So from this pasuk, yesh is a gematria 310. So we see that oyavai receive 310 ilamis. There's a beautiful dik from the Rebbe. The Rebbe says, what does Rabbi Shua ben Levi mean when he says l'chol tzaddik v'tzaddik, to every tzaddik and tzaddik? It would have been enough to say that the Eibishter will give an inheritance to every Jew, to every tzaddik, to a tzaddik. What does it mean to every tzaddik and tzaddik? So the Rebbe gave a beautiful explanation. I'd like just to share it briefly. The Rebbe said that tzaddik, we know, can be either Shem HaMushal or Shem HaEtzem. Tzaddik can either be a description or it can be the actually essence of the person. Shem HaMushal means you could say somebody who's a tzaddik, for example, who does mostly mitzvahs and a little bit of Averis. That's one type of tzaddik. There's another type of tzaddik, which is a tzaddik that's really has cleansed his entire being from any negativity, as the Alter Rebbe brings in Tanya, like David HaMelech, Harge B'tainis, he had no element of negativity left to him. So therefore the Mishnah says, tzaddik v'tzaddik, whether it's a tzaddik because you act mostly good, or tzaddik because you have really reached a true level of a tzaddik, the Eibishter will give shai elements. But then the Rebbe said, but what's l'chol tzaddik? He should have said, lahanchel tzaddik v'tzaddik. What does it mean l'chol tzaddik v'tzaddik? And here the Rebbe gave a fascinating insight. The Rebbe said, we know, the Mishnah says, that Makadosh Isha Manas Shani Tzaddik Gamur is Mekudeshes, or at least Allah Misafik. Why? Shema Hirir Tshuva Belibai. So if a person says, I'm going to get married to this woman on condition that I'm a tzaddik, we say that maybe he thought for a moment in tshuva, and he is engaged or betrothed Mekudeshes to that woman. So seemingly it's very odd. What is the reason why the person decided to have a hirat tshuva? Only in order to get married. So here you have somebody who's having, even his tshuva that he's doing is only because he's going to gain a material gain that he's looking for. Still, what does the Mishnah paskin? He's also considered a tzaddik. So here, that's why the Shua Levi was saying, l'chol tzaddik v'tzaddik. Not just a tzaddik who's mostly good, and a tzaddik who even reached higher, who's completely good, but even a tzaddik who does good things for ulterior motives, for selfish motives, even a him. The Shua ben Levi paskins that he will get shai ilamis. The Mishnah finishes off, Amr Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta, Rabbi Shimon ben Chalafta said, Lo yimatza HaKadosh Baruch Hu kli machzik bracha liyisrael ela hashalim. The Eibishter did not find a vessel that can withstand or hold the bracha for the Yidden, only shalom, only peace. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Hashem meiz la'meitein, sheyivarech hasam v'shalim.
Yeah, good all good people. Water level publication. Yeah, don't love yo buy.
Ok, juste quelques minutes. En fait, présentement, la yeshiva de Levi, qui n'ont pas pu retourner en Eretz Israël dû à la situation, ils se sont installés upstate New York. Et ils sont en train de gather, ils sont tous ensemble. Oh, I'm sorry, I went to French. Basically, Levi's yeshiva, they move to upstate New York because of the situation. Levi's friend couldn't fly back to Eretz Israel, and therefore they're doing the Shloshim together in New York. And they're going to share with us a few moments with us.
Upstate New York, and because of the situation, Levi's friends flying back to Eretz Israel, and they're starting to do the Shloshim together in New York. And they're going to share with us a few moments. In upstate New York, and because of the situation, Levi's friends flying back to Eretz.
All right. I don't make sure I have email this week.
Yeah, you're good. Alright.
Here, the short amount of time I got to know Lely, about a month only. We privileged to learn a lot from him. Not necessarily knowledge and understanding of ideas, but a certain way that he acted and the way that he used out his time and in general around his life. It's highlighted with the story. We saw Lely visited the Rebbe in 1973 during the Yom Kippur War. Our situation was still unknown. What would happen? People were very nervous. And he was sitting across from the Rebbe, and the Rebbe asked him, what are the people feeling like in Eretz Yisrael? What's the general vibe of the people? And he gives a sigh, says, people don't know what's Zion. People don't know what will be. I mean, laughed at the Rebbe, cupped with hands, held with hands across the table, said, Rabbi, aloud, the Yid never asks what's Zion, only Toskin. The Yid doesn't ask what will be, only what can I do. Lely was a person who, no matter the situation that he was in, never found himself in a situation. He was never controlled by his circumstances, by his history, by anything. Lely always decided what was best, what he thought was the right thing to do, or what he thought was the best thing to do in any situation. He decided to live his life like that. No one could brainwash him, no one could control him, no circumstance would put him down, because Lely always knew what the right thing to do was. And Lely was only interested in doing that right thing. It's a very powerful lesson to learn from Lely, especially the situation out there. It's thrown that everyone tries worrying what will be, what will be. The message that we can learn from the story of the Rebbe that Lely really carried out throughout his life is let's focus on what we can do. Let's make it fill for our brothers and sisters. We're not singing niggin, let's start niggin. Oh, you know, yeah.
the ceremony, not 9/11, but I'm sure share stories, experiences, the memories that we had at Lely throughout the night.
Right away. Active for the fact big problem. The whole thing. You were tired. He's the main focus. Next time we don't get to. We're still on it. Yeah.